an apartment in Los Angeles where no new tenant survives for more than 13 days. And in the diary, their last words are always the same. Los Angeles. City of dreams. City of lights. And hidden among those lights stands an old apartment building that looks completely normal. But the real story is something else. There is one specific unit, number 302, where whoever moves in has only 13 days left to live. And no one ever realizes it until the diary is found. Yes, an old diary, always discovered inside the tenant's room. And on the last page of that diary, there's always just one line. He is here. In 2005, this case first came to light. A young couple, Sarah and Daniel, moved to Los Angeles with new dreams. A new life. They rented apartment 302. On the first day, everything was perfectly normal. The charm of a new city, new people, and a fresh start. But on the third day, Sarah found the diary on the table, covered in dust, its cover torn. And on the very first page it was written, "Welcome to 302. She thought maybe it was left behind by a previous tenant. But as Sarah read further, she saw, Day 1, room is fine, but nights are loud. Day 2, someone knocked inside my room, but the door was locked. Day 3, I felt his breath beside my bed." Sarah quickly shut the diary and told Daniel it must be some kind of prank, but that night, while they were sleeping, Sarah suddenly woke up because she felt heavy breathing right next to her ear, as if someone was standing there. But the room was empty. The next morning, Daniel found the diary lying open on the table, and the last entry read, "Day 4, he touched my shoulder." Daniel accused Sarah of writing it herself, but Sarah swore that the diary was already like this. Days kept passing, and every day, the diary updated itself, describing exactly the same experiences Sarah and Daniel were going through. Day 5, footsteps at midnight. Day 6, shadows in the mirror. Day 7, he whispered my name. Sarah's health began to decline. Her face turned pale. And when Daniel returned home from work, he often found her sitting for hours, writing in the diary. But she always claimed she didn't remember it. On the 11th day, Sarah told Daniel, "I think he's coming to take me." Daniel laughed and said she was imagining things. And that night, he left Sarah alone. That night, when Daniel came back, Sarah had vanished. Only the diary was lying open on the bed. And inside it was written, Day 12, he was inside the room. Day 13, he is here. Those were Sarah's last words. The diary lay open, but Sarah was nowhere to be found. Daniel searched for her the entire night, called the police, questioned the neighbors. But there was no clue, only one strange thing every resident of the building said. The people who live in 302, they always leave in secret. And they never come back. Daniel picked up the diary and decided he had to understand who was really writing all of this. The next morning, when he looked at the first page again, it now read, "This is not my diary, it is his." Daniel was confused. And when he flipped to the last pages, they were empty. But during the night, the diary began to write by itself. Day 14. Daniel is alone now. Daniel's blood froze. He tried to burn the diary, but the flames went out, as if something was protecting it. That night, Daniel saw a reflection in his window. A man, his face blurred, only his eyes glowing, and he slowly began moving toward him. Daniel screamed and ran out. into the stairwell, but every floor, every door was locked, and somehow he found himself back inside his own apartment, as if he had never left. The next morning, the building's guard discovered apartment 302 empty. No Sarah, no Daniel, only the diary left on the table. And on its last page was written, Day 15. He took them both. Years passed, and the apartment was rented out again. New tenants came, new faces, new dreams. But every time, only 13 days. And then the same line appears again. He is here. The Los Angeles police have received dozens of complaints. Yet in official records, apartment 302 is still listed, available for rent, and even today, new people move in, never knowing they only have 13 days left. At a closed New York subway station, trains can be heard at night. Yet official records show no tracks have been active there for 50 years. New York City, the world's largest metro system. 472 active stations. And millions of people pass through daily. But beneath the lights, there's a place where no train has officially run in half a century. A closed station, removed from maps. Sealed off to the public, yet locals say, after 2 a.m., you can hear the whistle of a train, and the wheels echoing on the old iron tracks. The station was called Old Worth Street Station, opened in the 1930s, and permanently closed in the 1970s due to budget cuts. According to official records, no rail line is active here. No schedule, no train service. Yet, strange reports have surfaced from the very beginning. 1972, a retired motorman reported to the police. I slowed my car and saw people standing on the closed station platform. 5 to 6 individuals, all dressed in 1920s attire. And when I looked again, they had vanished. In the 1980s, MTA workers claimed that during a repair shift, they saw a train's headlights approaching them. But when they moved to the side track, the train was gone. In 1995, a journalist attempted to make a documentary. He secretly set up a camera inside the closed tunnel and captured a train whistle, followed by the loud screech of brakes. And then the camera went static. The journalist's name was Peter. And after completing his film, he mysteriously disappeared. The case remains unresolved. In 2008, an MTA security guard reported that during his night shift on Platform 3, he saw an old advertisement board, a soap ad from the 1950s. But when he returned later, the board had vanished. In 2014, a group of college students entered the station for a dare. They recorded a vlog, uploaded the footage to YouTube. And in their video, a train clearly passed by, with a black iron body. But its design was not any modern MTA car. It was a 1930s model, retired after the 1970s. The most horrifying incident happened in 2019. A homeless man, who often slept in the tunnels, claimed he traveled on an old wooden train. He said, I saw everyone inside sitting in black suits, completely silent, their eyes blank, as if they weren't alive. When I tried to get off at the next station, the door wouldn't open, and the next moment, I was back on the closed platform. The autopsy report listed cardiac arrest, but in his hand was an old paper ticket, printed with the year 1957. Even today, locals say, after midnight, if you pass near City Hall and put your ear close to the ground, you can feel the vibrations of a train passing beneath, even though no active line runs there. And the most striking thing, anyone who tries to investigate the story of this station either goes missing or their life becomes filled with strange tragedies. 2022, an independent New York filmmaker, Daniel Cruz, decided to document the mystery of Worth Street Station. He named his project The Train That Never Existed. Daniel accessed the MTA archives, studying maps, schedules, and old reports. Official documents clearly stated Worth Street Station closed 1970, all tracks decommissioned. But when he zoomed into the blueprints, there was an extra tunnel line, not found on any modern map. Daniel spoke to a retired subway engineer. The engineer quietly said, "Son, don't go there. I've seen the train there only once in my life. And after that, my life was never normal." When Daniel pressed further, the engineer hung up and never contacted him again. October 2022. Daniel and his crew entered Worth Street Station through a hidden service tunnel. They set up their cameras and audio recorders. The platform was completely dusty, but strangely, the tracks were shining as if freshly polished. Night 1:30 a.m., they captured their first unusual recording. CCTV showed a bright light from a far tunnel, as if a train was approaching. Yet when they looked with their own eyes, the tunnel was completely dark. 2:00 a.m., a loud whistle sounded. Microphones recorded it, and vibrations were felt, as if an 8-coach old iron train had passed. One crew member, Alex, panicked and said, "I saw the passengers, all in black suits, staring right at me." Nothing appeared in the camera footage, but terror was clearly visible in his eyes. 2:45 a.m. Daniel saw an old wooden bench with a folded paper on it. He opened it. It was an old-style subway ticket, printed with the year 1935, and on the back, "Next stop, nowhere." 3:10 a.m. Suddenly a strong wind blew through the tunnel. Cameras glitched one by one. Then a black iron-body train appeared, stopping at the platform. Doors opened, dim light inside, dozens of passengers, all dressed in 1930s attire, pale faces, blank eyes. They looked at Daniel and the crew, and in unison said one word: "Bored." The crew tried to run in panic, but Alex walked directly into the train, and the doors closed. The train slowly vanished into the tunnel, and Alex was never seen again. The next morning, when Daniel watched his saved footage, it only showed an empty platform, and Alex walking into the tunnel by himself, as if in a hallucination. No record of the train, no proof. December 2022. Daniel was about to release his documentary, but a day before the release, his apartment burned down. Hard drives and tapes destroyed. Official records listed it as accidental fire. Even today, locals say, between 2 and 3 a.m., if you pass beneath City Hall, you can hear an old train whistle and the sound of brakes. And sometimes, in reflections, you see another passenger with you, who isn't really there. Los Angeles, city of stars. But there's a corner of this city where people arrive with a smile and leave behind only silence. An old motel, built in the 1960s. Right next to the freeway, cheap, small, but always fully booked. But the real story begins after 1990. From 1990 until today, a single room. Room number 6 has left behind its own record. 36 people checked into this room, but never managed to check out. The very first case was in 1990. A business traveler, Mark, came from New York to LA for a conference. He went to spend the night at the motel. In the morning, his belongings were still in the room. The bed perfectly made, but Mark was gone. Police found no forced entry, no sign of struggle. The case was filed as missing person, and the motel reopened. 2 years later, in 1992, a couple was on their honeymoon trip. They took room 6. The receptionist said they had ordered pizza that night. The delivery boy came, knocked on the door. No response. When the staff opened the door, the room was silent. Their luggage was there, jackets hanging. But the couple had vanished. Only one thing was strange. Drops of water were falling from the ceiling above their bed, even though there was no bathroom or pipeline upstairs. After that, every few years, a new case kept surfacing. Different people, different days. But one pattern always remained the same. Whoever went inside, their name in the guest book became the last entry. And they never walked out of the motel again. In 2001, a journalist, Anna, came specifically to cover this case. She said, "I will stay in room 6 and document everything." She set up her camera, placed it on a tripod, and recorded the entire night. In the morning, the staff found Anna's camera still running. The bed was perfectly made, but Anna was gone. The last frame captured on the camera showed Anna standing in front of the mirror. And right behind her, a woman was visible. Her face blurred, but her eyes staring directly into the camera. After this, the motel was temporarily shut down. But when new management reopened it in 2005, room 6 was kept locked. Just 2 years later, a local rumor started attracting people again. They said, if you stand by the door of room 6 and press your ear against it, you can hear the sound, like someone flipping through the pages of a diary. In 2009, a tourist group requested the manager to unlock room 6 as part of a dare. The manager refused, but that same night, security cameras captured the group sneaking inside secretly. The next morning, the room was empty. Their belongings were still there, jackets hanging. The door locked from the inside, and on the table was a diary, with the words written, "Day 1, the room is watching us." The pattern kept growing, until now. According to official records, 36 people disappeared from the very same room, leaving behind no trace. No clue, no evidence, ever. In 2018, a retired LAPD officer said, "The motel case files are some of the most confusing and terrifying cases in our department. The forensic reports are clean, but the missing persons are always from room 6. And always without any struggle." And today, in 2023, room 6 still officially exists. The address is still listed on Google Maps. The motel sign has grown old, paint peeling away. But locals say, at 3 a.m., the light inside room 6 turns on by itself. And from inside, you can hear the sound, like someone is still writing in a diary. Los Angeles Motel, room 6. After 36 disappearances, in 2023, a new investigation began. A young documentary filmmaker, Jason, decided to make a project on Motel Room 6. He spoke to the old motel manager, who said, "I worked here for 20 years, but I will never open the door of room 6 again." Jason also interviewed a retired LAPD officer. The officer said, "I entered the room with the forensic team. Everything looked perfectly normal, but the temperature was always 10 degrees lower. And there was a strange smell, like old diary pages that had gotten damp." Jason set up his equipment, cameras, audio recorders, EMF meters, and decided he would spend one night inside room 6. That night, 11:45 p.m., within the very first hour, Jason's audio recorder captured faint whispering, like someone saying, "Day 1, 12:30 a.m. Jason noticed on his laptop screen, the cameras were recording clearly, but in one angle. A woman was sitting by the bed, in a white dress. Yet when he turned around, the room was completely empty. 1:15 a.m. Jason walked over to the diary lying on the table. The diary was blank. He opened it. And suddenly the pages began to move. Words appeared. Day 37. Jason is here. Jason froze. He tried to shut the diary. But it felt as if the pages were stuck to his hands. And at that moment, the camera recorded. In the mirror behind Jason, the same blurred woman was standing. The one seen in journalist Anna's 2001 footage. 2:00 am. Jason recorded his notes. I think this room isn't a physical space. It's a trap, a cycle, where anyone who checks in becomes another page in the diary. 2:45 am. His audio recorder picked up. He is watching. But the voice wasn't Jason's. It was an unknown male voice. In the morning, motel staff opened room 6. His belongings were there. The camera was still running. The laptop still on the tripod, the diary open on the table. And on its last page was written, Day 38. He never checked out. Jason never came back. LAPD closed the case as missing person. And now, the official list holds 37 names. All from the very same room. Locals say, if you go to the motel and stand by the door of room 6, you can hear the sound of diary pages turning. And sometimes, you even hear your own name. As if the next page is being written for you.